How's it going, everybody? I'm here today playing the Guild 2. I'm basically going to give you a rundown on why you should probably play it. So I recently started playing this game after I noticed a friend of mine on Steam playing it as well, and at first, I had bought it maybe a year and a half ago. I never really got around to looking at it, and it's actually quite interesting. Now, it bills itself as an RPG, but it's actually much more than that. See, the deal is, you're building a dynasty throughout the ages. So you'll start off with a single person, either male or female, and it's up to you to build a family dynasty that takes over the other family dynasties that are competing against you. So it's much more than your average RPG that's simply set in a medieval time period. So I have a game already started, but I'm going to start a new game to give you an idea of what it's like. So here we have some different maps we can play. Now keep in mind, this is the Guild 2. There is no subtext or subtitle to this game. So this is sort of the base experience. If you're more interested in a full-fledged experience, I believe the Guild 2 Renaissance is the game you should go for. It's currently on sale, I believe, during the Steam Summer Sale for 99 cents. So it's definitely a low investment or a low barrier for entry. Anyway, here we have the various different maps that are available. I'll pick Sherwood Forest as I'm familiar with it. We have different types of game modes: Extinction, Dynasty mode, Time Limit, and Mission. Now, Dynasty mode is where you have to be the remaining dynasty, I believe. There are no missions for that. Number of dynasties here, you can choose how many you're going to compete against. I recommend keeping the number low because according to the reviews, the game is prone to get buggy at times. I have it set to easy because I'm a noob like that. Now here we're going to personalize our character. You can either choose a male or female character, and really the only thing I've noticed it affecting is the fact that if you play as a female character, you won't be able to play as her while she is with child, so keep that in mind. You can choose your first and last name. We'll just keep it as that because I'm terrible at coming up with new names. Now here are some different classes. Let's go here. The patron is basically like a farmer kind of class. They're definitely on the lower end of the spectrum. Moving up a class is craftsmen. They're like the blacksmiths and other sort of commercial industries inside the village. Then you have the educational elite, sort of the scholars, and then of course the criminals, the rogues. Now, I'm most used to playing as the craftsman, so I'll choose that. And here you can choose different attributes. These zodiac sign will give you small bonuses that will apply to your talents here altogether. Now, your character will have certain strengths and certain weaknesses. Here you can see the little minus symbols means that I'm weak in those areas. The plus symbols mean I have strengths in those areas, and the cross over the circle means that I neither favor it nor am weak to it. So I'm just going to bump up a few of these ones that I'm strong at, and then we'll give it a go. Okay, there we are. Here you can adjust features. I'll do random. There we are. And then we can start a game. Okay, so here I started out in the town. As you can see, there's some nice movement going off the camera. You can really sweep around with it and get a good look at what's going on around you. I like that. I like the idea of a free-moving camera. I mean, it can tank the frame rate, it can reduce the performance of the game, but overall, I think it's nice to give players that choice quite easily.
Yes.
Okay, so here is my house. I started with a small little hovel here. I started with 10,000 in gold and my character. So now to start a dynasty, I'm actually going to have to get married and start a business. Since I am a craftsman, we're going to go to the buildings menu. Patrons, they can construct buildings such as the croft, which is a lower version of the farm, the bake shop, a public house, which is like upgrades to an inn, and then of course you have the standard things such as corrals and fields. A craftsman, which is what I am, can build the smithing shops, the carpenter shop, the weaving mill, and woodcutters huts and mining, which would allow me, if we take a look at the map here, allows me to mine various resources around the map. Now, one of the ways that having different generations or having a dynasty plays into this game is the fact that you can train your children, for example, to be masters at a different craft. So I might be a craftsman, which means I can't control buildings that patrons, scholars, or rogues use, but that doesn't mean that my descendants couldn't control one of these buildings, which allows me to really branch out and sort of gain a grasp on the territory around here. It allows you to dominate entire production lines, because that's how you're going to make money in this game. You're going to be manufacturing goods and then selling them to the market. You can also do that with your partner. Whoever you marry can obviously be of a different class. Now the scholars, there is like the tinctuary, church, and a cathedral apparently. The rogue doesn't have a whole lot going for it. There's the smuggler's hole and the robber's nest. Now the rogue is probably the hardest and the most interesting to play, given the fact that you're not actually an honest business. You're not going to be selling things to the market. You're not going to be manufacturing and selling things to the market like an ordinary person would. But interestingly enough, the guards don't really kill the rogues unless they attack other people. From what I've seen, the guards will tend to only react when the rogues actually get involved in misdeeds. So rogues will actually control houses around the town. As you can see, I'm not all that familiar with the interface, and the interface is definitely a weak point for this game. So far, it's outdated, I guess you could say. Now, the Guild 2 came out in 2006, and I've heard people say that the interface is even outdated for that time period. But overall, I think it's definitely a shortcoming that's easily overlooked. Now here we have, what is this building? This is a master baker. I can't buy this, so I'm looking for a building that I can either buy. Here we go. Here is the weaver shop. Now I am a craftsman, or I keep forgetting the name of it. Yes, I am a craftsman, so I can buy this weaver shop. So let's click on the buy button, and there we go. For $1,750, I now own the weaving mill, and we can enter it. And that's one of the cool things. You can actually see what the insides of your buildings look like. Now this isn't much. I can't speak today apparently. This isn't for much more than simply the cosmetic appeal of it. There isn't really anything you can interact with in here, but there are various options. And I'm going to hire some peasants for my building. So here we go. Okay, I can't hire anymore, so now I'm going to move to the production side of it and take a look at here. I have some different resources, cloth and wool. So I'm going to start assigning my workers here, myself and my 2 hired workers, to begin producing purses. And once they're done producing that, I'll be able to sell it to the market in a cart. Now you will have to do all of this manually, which is definitely a downside in later parts of the game, but fortunately you can never control more than 3 characters at one time, as you can see in these upper slots right here. And you can also hire certain things. You can hire a manager to automate this stuff in the game. I'm going to remove my character here because I want to here we go. I want to show you some of the other things about this game besides the actual work involved in it. So this is basically going to be my profession. I'm going to be a weaver, and that's how I make my money. However, there are more important things to do. So to build a dynasty, first you're going to have to find somebody to get married to, and it's an entailed process. But in addition to that, you can also you can also contest public offices. So here is the assembly house. I'm going to go in there, and this is how you increase your title and also get involved in the politics of the game. Now the game has its own political system, and it's quite reliant on bribery. Here I'm going to go ahead and purchase a title, and this might be another weak point of the game, is you're going to actually have to watch a lot of these cutscenes. Every time you purchase a title, you're going to have to listen to this guy talk. And I have noticed that from time to time, the different translations of the game will get mixed up, and they will be conversing in 2 languages at once. It sounds like German to me, but I don't speak German, so I'm not positive I identified that correctly. But here we go. I'm going to get a new title, 500 gold, and thank you. That guy, he doesn't know when to stop talking. Leave the building, and I'll get my title forthwith. Now that I'm a citizen, I can do various things, such as I'm eligible to be elected into public office, and I can also upgrade my buildings here. But I have been granted my title now, and I think we should look into some of the other aspects of this. So basically what I need to do is find somebody to marry. And this is definitely one of the more lengthy processes in the game, and there are various political ramifications of doing so. Like you can marry into other dynasties in an attempt to curry favor with them, but it could be harder, it could be easier. It depends upon how particular you are. And overall, it takes a long time, so it probably is some... I'm a what in court? You're an assessor in court. Ah, I was actually summoned in to fulfill jury duty. Okay, let's go back to the court. There is going to be a lot of waiting around, I have to admit. I mean, you can speed the game up, obviously. It can actually go quite fast, but then you can easily lose control of things, especially if there's a possibility of your dynasty being under attack, which does happen from time to time. Other dynasties will declare some sort of war on you. And the problem with that is you have to hire henchmen to actually defend yourself from it. Now, I'm here early, obviously, and I was just going to go over some of the politics involved. So I can purchase a title, apply for an office, charge somebody or leave the building. So I'm going to apply for an office. And here you can see the various offices currently available in this town. So you can apply. This person hates me, so that's probably one I should apply to. And if I want to win this position, I should curry favor with the current village mayor. So I'm going to try to apply for that office in the meantime while we're in here waiting. And that's how you basically get into politics. And I mean, and here's what I mean when they start using different languages to communicate. Now, I obviously have the localization set to English, but it glitches out from time to time, which is okay because they have subtitles, so it's no big deal. Hey, there, he just went floating over the floor. I'm gonna leave the building now, and I'm gonna take a look at my production house. So we have 3 purses already ready to go to market. I'm gonna load those into my cart, then grab my cart and drive it over here to the market. Now, obviously, if you're further removed from the town like the farmers would be, the market trip is actually a pretty big deal, and your cart can get robbed, especially by the thieves. What are the thieves called? They're called rogues. Yes, that class will potentially rob your cart, so it's something you have to do. You have to keep in mind that it can be robbed, and therefore you should protect it if another faction has declared semi-war against you. But now once we're in the market, I can take the cart. Transport should show up forthwith. Okay, there it was. Yeah, let's select it again. And now I'm going to go into textiles, and here we have the purses. Drag that up, sell all 3 of them like that, and then we can also buy more resources that we're going to use to make the purses. So I shouldn't have bought that. I actually don't need fat. Sell it back. So I'm selling that back at a loss. But here you have cotton, for example, and iron comes into play later on in the game. So, oh, there is none in there. Okay, buy some silver instead. That also comes into play for a textile factory. And you should keep in mind that you're not limited to just one different productivity type. Obviously, as you acquire more buildings, you'll have access to more production chains, I guess you could say. Here is the public house, for example. If you are the patron class, you'll be able to buy this house right next to the town and run it. And this is one of the things about the game that really appeals to me, is the sense of taking over an entire town. Like, I kind of wanted to see the town run by my dynasty, I guess you could say. That was sort of a long-term goal of mine, which sort of fosters that same one more turn sort of formula that Civilization has going for it. You know, you always want to play one more turn because you're so close to achieving all those mini goals, and that's sort of what I had a feeling with when playing this game. I played it for about 6 hours now, so obviously I have a lot more to learn about it, but from what I had learned, it had that was what really drove me to continue playing it. Now I'm going to quit this one, and I'm going to dive into a game that I've already developed to give you an idea of what the things look like a little bit later on. Now, it's not a whole lot later on. I actually don't control any additional production buildings yet, so maybe I should have waited a bit longer before recording this, but I figured I would record it while my excitement for this game was still fresh. Now, one other thing I want to note is that the Guild 3 is due to come out later this year, and it's been about 10 years, I think, since we last had a Guild game, and hopefully a lot has improved, because this is definitely playable, and it's quite enjoyable. I had a lot of fun with it, and for only 99 cents on sale right now, it's a steal, really. But having the Guild 3 come out, that's definitely something I'm looking forward to later this year, I guess you could say. It's almost as big as Civilization 6 right now, which is also coming out in October. Anyway, I'm going to quit back to the main menu and then load up a saved game. So So here we are with my current saved game. As you can see, I did pretty much everything the same. Right here is my tailor shop, but in this one my house is located right here. And I actually have a family going already. So if you look at my family tree, I have 4 children, 3 of them are boys, 1 of them is a girl. And my current character is how old? 34. So as you can see, you probably start when you're about 17, so 34. Definitely middle-aged when it comes to the Middle Ages, ha ha ha. And there is a faction that has declared war against me, so I'm going to take a look at the important people. And here we go with the enemies. Now these, they're actually craftsmen. There we go. They actually attack my buildings from time to time. So like my house and my tailor shop have been assaulted on numerous occasions, but the guards have always come to my defense and killed my rivals, thugs. What are they called? They're assassins. They're bodyguards. But I haven't done a whole lot. Which is disappointing. I mean, I've been focusing largely on building my family for future generations in an attempt to take over from there.
Your children is now eligible for school.
So as you can see, as just said, one of my children is eligible for school. So I got to go and find, here we go, Dynasty. And I'm not sure which one is eligible, but you can just click through them. Here, this one, that one needs to start an apprenticeship. Here, send this one to school. It's going to cost me 500 gold. Those children are expensive to keep around. Only have 91 gold left, and I did waste some of it. Send on a very extravagant marriage and a couple of gifts to arrange that marriage. So that was about $2,000 just to get married. Probably unnecessary, but I was still quite new to the game and everything. So I think that's a pretty decent overview of the game. They're obviously bigger towns. Here, if we fly over here, this is definitely the main center of trade and everything in this map. There's a castle around it, or a castle wall and everything. And as I work, and as we work as a town on this one, it will upgrade over time. So there was a level below this that it used to be, and it has upgraded now. But you'd only control at most 3 characters, but you still have sort of control over what your entire dynasty does. So that gives you a sense of accomplishment to sort of spread your dynasty throughout this land, throughout this map. And that's pretty much where the gameplay is going, the value of the gameplay is going to come in here. There isn't a whole lot else going for it, unfortunately, but I find that play cycle exceptionally intriguing. I find it worthwhile to me to play. So that is the Guild 2, just a plain game. I probably haven't showcased anything extremely interesting here, but I hope my commentary is enough to convince you that it is a very good game for the price. Thank you very much for watching, as always. And that is a lot of people there. Looks like the guards are chasing somebody, interestingly enough. So thank you very much for watching, as always, and I hope to see you next time.